welcome. I'm Jade of Jaded Reader, and today I am finally getting rid of some books. A long time coming. I admit I've ran out of room on my shelves. I have a lot of reasons why I'm doing an unhaul today. First off, I am downsizing. We are moving to a smaller location so that we can move again to probably an even smaller location, but an exciting one. And so I cannot just keep buying books and hoarding them. There has to be a little bit of balance. That's not to say I don't also have a haul that I'm filming today. I'm just saying I'm doing an unhaul too. For these books, I'm not tossing them away. I don't absolutely hate them. They're books for me that I don't need on my shelves or I'm unsure about, and I'm just trying to downsize. My cat is banging her head up against the tripod. Essentially, they're just books that I can live without, or I'm not as interested in, or they're just books I know I won't read again. These books will either be donated to the Boys and Girls Club, my library, which is being built down the street from my house right now. I'm super excited. Wallace Books, which is an indie bookstore also down the street from my house, which I truly love, or possibly to you if you comment below, because there are a few books that I think are pretty sought after books that I don't need but maybe you would want. First up on my list is Akata Witch by Nnedi Okorafor. I actually really liked the magic system in this book and the Nigerian folklore. There's a lot of representation, not of just Nigerian culture, but of different learning disorders such as dyslexia. I'm dyslexic. I really appreciated the representation. I just felt that some points weren't done very well, and that part of the magic system is a little bit of an erasure of those learning challenges, and I don't know. Ultimately, this book had some weird moments in it that just fell short for me, but I think that it could be really great for some other readers, and as Akata Witch is a middle grade, I will be donating it to the Boys and Girls Club. Next up is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I thought I was going to absolutely love this book, and you know, the beginning completely had me. I was trusting this book pretty much until about 3/4 in, when I realized we had run out of time for plot and I already pretty much knew the outcome. So I was really disappointed with the ending of this book, and ultimately by the time I got to that point, I realized that apart from amazing descriptions and atmosphere, this just wasn't the book for me. So I'll be donating this to Wallace Books. Next up, I honestly just don't need 2 copies of this, and that's Once and Future by Amy Rose Capetta and Corey McCarthy. So I read this book and I have one of my personal favorite reading vlogs up here where I talk about my feelings and thoughts on this book. I actually have, because I was so excited for it. I got the Illumicrate version because I was so excited for it. It's way smaller, teal pages. Overall, this is just more my style. It's more portable if I do decide to read it again for the sequel, and because I just didn't like it enough, I just can't really rationalize keeping 2 copies of the same book. This is a beautiful copy, however, and a lot of people really enjoy this book. I think that it does great things and it just picks up more than I think it can handle, but the things it's picking up and trying to talk about are really, really excellent, and I strongly believe in. I'll be sending this one to my local library as it's in pretty decent condition and I know that they need more books. Next up, this was a really tough decision for me because first off, it's a special edition, which sucks. You don't want to spend money on a special edition just to give it away. The second one is it's really beautiful and I really liked the beginning of this book, but I am ultimately going to have to unhaul The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chokshi. I really enjoyed the beginning of this book. I'll be talking about it in my wrap-up, so I'm not getting rid of this book right away. This is the Alcrate edition. It's really pretty, and honestly, I thought the beginning of it was really pretty too. As it went on, the depth of the characters were just not doing it for me. It was an excellent heist, however. I was very interested in the heist, but in my case, you still have to care about the characters pretty substantially to care about the heist. So for me, it's going to have to go, and because it is a special edition Alcrate, I'm gonna give you guys the option. If you'd like this edition of Gilded Wolves, if you're really interested in it, a lot of people really enjoyed this book. It just wasn't the read for me, but if you are interested in this book, go ahead and leave a comment down below saying you are. I'll be doing a random generator towards the end of the month, and I will be choosing someone to hand this book off to. If no one's interested in it, it's going to my local library or Wallace Books. I'll be holding on to it because I still have to talk about it for my wrap-up, and I really am having a hard time getting rid of it. It just doesn't make sense. And again, the buzzword downsizing. These next books, I'm really sad to see go, but I just cannot keep them. I really enjoyed Flame in the Mist by Renee Adia, but I really did not care for Smoke in the Sun by Renee Adia. This is a duology. It's really cool. It's promoted as a Mulan retelling, but I found it to be a little bit more Robin Hood, at least in the first one. The second one, maybe. Overall, if this book was a standalone, it would be up on my top 5 shelf and it would stay there. However, because it's a duology and I found that the sequel fell so flat, I'm going to be getting rid of both of them. Plus, it has been annoying me since day one that they don't match in any shape or form. No matter what you buy, when you buy it, there's no way to get a matching set of this duology. I don't know why. I don't know if it's changed since the last time I hunted for it, but I'm done. I'm through. I can do it no longer. So the first book, because I really loved it, will be going to the Boys and Girls Club, and the second book will be going to my library because it's a hardback and it's in really good condition. This next trilogy really surprised me because it's one I've had on my shelves forever, since middle school. They're in pretty decent shape apart from cat hair and sun damage. I have the De Granville trilogy by K.M. Grant. This is a series I read in middle school and absolutely loved, and I tried to read it this time and I just could not keep my eyes open. I couldn't get into it, and they've been on my shelves forever, so I'm going to take them off. So I have Blood Red Horse, Green Jasper, and Blaze of Silver. So essentially this takes place during the Crusades. It follows the De Granville family. You're then introduced to different perspectives based off of who has the Blood Red Horse, named Hosanna, and you really get a good depiction of what is happening in this war on both sides, and you have a chance to connect with all the different characters and empathize with their cause. I don't know. Ultimately, like, that sounds really awesome, but I was bored and there's a lot of horse death. Guys, like, it's pretty brutal. I don't know. I don't have a strong reason for getting rid of these books except for that I don't feel strongly enough to keep them. So they're going. I don't know where I'll take these. I feel like either Wallace Books or my local library is a good choice. I feel like because of the gruesome horse deaths, they probably won't hit the Boys and Girls Club though. Then I have The Stars Beneath Our Feet by David Barclay Moore. There's nothing really wrong with this book. It was a really nice middle grade and I enjoyed reading it. It's about a boy named Lolly who's growing up in New York. His brother was just murdered in a gang-related crime, and Lolly has both grief and trauma and is trying to cope with his loss. He does this through making creations of Legos, and he ends up building this entire world of Legos. I thought it was a really good book. I definitely will be donating this to the Boys and Girls Club, but while I enjoyed the read, I know that I won't be reading it again, and I believe that this would be so much more useful for a child that is going through any sort of transition or changes in their life, and I just know that it would be better in someone else's hands. Then I'm getting rid of some manga. It's true, I am getting rid of Enclosed Called Fat by Moyoka Ano. So I read this for my class, and I do not have an eating disorder, but I put the strongest trigger warnings humanly possible on this book if you have or have had any thoughts contributing to an eating disorder. Don't even want to like show the front. Like, this book I found to be a really in-depth study and criticism on fat phobia. However, I feel it was done in a really raw way that could be incredibly upsetting to people. I do not have an eating disorder and I found it really upsetting. The characters are not likable. I don't fully believe by the end there is anything happy that comes out of it. It's supposed to just stick with you and gnaw at you. So if you are looking for a book to get a better idea and empathize with people who have eating disorders, this may be the manga for you. However, I know I won't be able to read this book again, and I feel that it could be dangerous for so many different people that I can't imagine really bringing it up often on my channel. So I will be getting rid of Enclosed Called Fat by Moyoka Ano, and I will be waiting to do that until after my wrap up because I will be talking about it more there. Then I am getting rid of Oku by Fumi Yoshinaga. So this poor manga, okay, my teacher instructed me to read this volume, which is volume 9. It's in a larger series called The Inner Chambers, and there's definitely like a loose story plot going on while each book focuses on different characters and different aspects. I really felt very out of the loop. Found the dialogue was a little odd, and I was really excited for this book because I was told in class that it had trans representation. I mentioned it in my TBR that I believed that it did because I was told that it did, and I didn't find that there's trans representation in this book. Please correct me if I'm wrong. There is a female that cross-dresses as a man. From everything I read, she definitely identified as female, so this wasn't a trans representative book, and I was really bummed about that. Plus, it being the 9th in the volume, I do plan on picking up volume 1 eventually to give this series a legitimate chance, but but I'm not just gonna hold on to volume 9 until I do so. Then my final manga that I will not be keeping is EGF by Kazuto Tatsuda. Okay, is this book really important? Yes. Does it have interesting facts? Yes. Are the illustrations wonderful? Absolutely. Do I usually like Gekiga? Uh-huh. I'm not keeping this book. I found it incredibly boring. I felt like I was reading a textbook. I feel like I know a lot about the Fukushima power plant, so if that is something you are interested in, the Fukushima power plant in Japan was hit by a tsunami and it caused a nuclear explosion, causing much of the region to be in crisis. They are still doing cleanup. This memoir is based off of a man who goes in and helps with the cleanup project. He's paid very minimally, most of the workers are. It shows the dangers of radiation and you really get a day in the life of a blue-collar worker. I felt that this book was really well done and did exactly what he wanted to do. It's just not for me. This is not my style of read at all, and I just can't keep it. So I'll be taking all 3 of my manga to Wallace books. All right, are you ready to vote? Because I am so on the fence with this one. I really don't know what to do. So I'm going to leave it up to you guys because I'm lazy. I like interacting with you, and I want this decision out of my hands because it's been haunting me for weeks. I really loved, like 5 out of 5 star loved, Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir. And then I enjoyed but was like a little overwhelmed, still very willing, very 4-star-ish after I read Torch Against the Night by Saba Tahir. And then I got to Reaper at the Gates by Saba Tahir and I was tired, guys. I was real tired. I was so exhausted from reading these books. I was completely overwhelmed. Reading this novel took me way longer than Game of Thrones, than Name of the Wind. I don't know why I could not connect with this book, but I didn't at all. I was really tired of the 2 main characters. I was pretty much just reading Helene chapters well and skimming the rest because I just couldn't stand it anymore. The world building was getting way out of hand for me and I felt constantly like I was just falling back and not knowing what was happening. I'm like, what is going on? What are you talking about? They were all speaking about the world as if they were facts because they're used to this world. That's usually like how I like my world building, but with no explanation whatsoever. It just grew to be too much, and what started out as a really good novel for me just slowly turned into an overwhelming trilogy. I don't know if I want to keep these books. I know I want to try and read the 4th book, but to keep all of these until that one comes out and possibly have to reread these, it's a scary thought. Like, y'all, I'm scared. So what do you think? Do you think I should give these another try? That doesn't mean reread them immediately. That means keep them on my shelves and see when the 4th book comes out how I feel. Or should I just get rid of them and just leave the series behind? I really don't know. Like, was it just a bad moment for me? I buddy read this with Rachael Marie at Rachael Marie Book Junkie, and we both had very similar takes on the 3rd book as well as the 1st and 2nd, and I don't know. I'm gonna put a poll right up here. You decide for me. It's either yes, you are keeping it, or no, get rid of it. I'll make it super clear so it's not just yes or no. That is my last of the unhauls. If I get rid of these, I will most likely be taking these to Wallace Books. If there's anyone who's really interested in this, it's 2 paperbacks and a hardback. I don't know if you will be, but you can leave a comment down below. Maybe you're looking for these editions, which I also kind of doubt, but I really don't know. I'm like the last person to ask about like what's cool. So let me know. And that's it. My unhaul is finished. No more books am I getting rid of right now. I'm done. It was already a very sad moment for me. My shelves feel so empty without all of my books there. If you feel as sad as I do about that, you can watch my book haul that will eventually be up in a little tab there because I don't know which one of these I'm posting first. So look out for that. And I hope you're enjoying the sun or more stars wherever you are. Until next time, bye! But shh, I really appreciated the representation. Shh, you are being extra rude today. Shh. Teals, you are gonna get kicked out. This is your 3rd and final warning. Shh. I already told them it was the 3rd warning. I'm gonna look weak if I keep telling you to be quiet after this. Please be quiet. Please. Books that I will be sending out.